And as my taxi slowly drove down the long dirt road of a small, sleepy surf town called Popoyo in Nicaragua, I began to question my decision to come here. There wasn't much. There was a lot of dirt. It was really hot. There weren't many people. I didn't see any infrastructure at all. And as my taxi pulled up to my new home and dropped me off and said, "Here you go." And the grocery store is right there. And as I looked at the grocery store, I saw what I would call like a little corner store back at home. It was very small, so it would have just the basics. And the thing that had been on my mind the most of coming to this little surf town was, how do I get groceries? Because I don't have a car, and any place that I go to, I would either get a taxi or a ride or walk. But there aren't really taxis in this town because it's so small, so you can't just call a taxi. So I was a little bit concerned about how I was going to be getting my food. And it was later that day when I heard a loudspeaker coming from somewhere down the road. It was so strange. As I went out to investigate what it was, I could see this big truck, medium-sized truck, we'll call it, coming down the dirt road, blaring from its speaker, papaya, banana, kiwi, and all of the names of my favorite fruits. And as this truck pulled off into the shade next to me, I could not believe my eyes. I was in heaven. The truck was full of fruits and vegetables. And this is how you grocery shop in Popoyo, Nicaragua. So I knew I had found my dream destination. Now, I recently returned from my Eat, Pray, Love adventures in Central America. And I came back leaner and healthier than ever before. I had lost a ton of weight. And my mission in life is not to lose weight. My mission in life is to be as healthy as possible. And I remember specifically in Popoyo, which was near the end of my trip, and this had been a 3-month adventure, that I would wake up every single day, get out of bed and think, damn, I feel so amazing. I feel so good, so energetic, so healthy, so strong. Like my body, I'm just so connected to my body. And it had to do with a lot of things. It had to do with being by the ocean. It had to do with walking barefoot everywhere. It had to do with surfing. It had to do with the sunshine. It had to do with the lifestyle, the philosophy of life where I was. But one of the biggest things that it had to do with was the food that I was eating. So I came back super lean, super healthy, super connected. And I was like at the top of my game. Now I've been home for almost 3 months and I've gained some weight back. And I want to share with you why and how this has happened. Now let me start this by saying I don't weigh myself. I've never been a fan of weighing myself or saying that a number on a scale determines whether I'm worthy of being loved or loving myself. I just don't agree with that. I go by how I feel and how my clothes fit all the time. And I encourage all of my clients to do that too, to break up with your scale and celebrate the non-scale victories, because I think the scale is dangerous and I don't think it's accurate to whether you're doing well or not. And I have always been a curious person. I was a personal trainer for 16, 17 years and also a holistic nutritionist. I love to use myself as a guinea pig. So I study all the time. There's always, over those 16 and 17 years, there was always a new fad about how to lose weight or how to be healthy. And I would try all of them, only because I was curious, but because I would want to experience it so I could say, yes, it's legit, or no, it's not. This worked for me, or it didn't work. And I would know who this would be appropriate for. So I would always use myself as a guinea pig. And I love doing that. And I still do that to this day. I still do that. I love to have, if there's something going on in my body, I will figure out how to fix it and I'll try that. And then when it works, I share that with my clients. And of course, I love to base it on non-traditional people. I'm just not a follow the rules and follow the rest of the pack kind of girl. And so in my natural way I think, I'm curious about this. Okay, why did this happen? Why did I gain weight back? And I didn't gain all the weight back, but I definitely gained some of the weight back. And when I sit back and think about my whole experience and what happened, I can with all confidence say that it is like the food supply. This is why I was able to lose weight without trying to lose weight, just by living. And this is also why I've gained some of the weight back when I returned back to my natural environment, to my home. When we go to Central America, and I'll just stick with this one little surf town because it was like so good. Their food supply, it's basic. It's local. And by local, I mean, like it might not be grown right in this small town because it's so small and it's super dry right on the ocean, but it's like the closest farm to it. So super local. It's organic. They're not using pesticides and herbicides. And they're not feeding their animals any kind of antibiotics. In the USA, 70% of the antibiotics go to the cows and the chickens, go to like all of our meat industry. So it's super fresh. This food is super fresh because it doesn't have all of the chemicals in it to make it last. Like when I go to the grocery store here and I see grapes from Chile, I'm thinking, how does this grape, which should only last a couple of days if it's just in its natural habitat, how does it last being shipped from Chile and look so good and so amazing? Those are all chemicals. So it's the food there is like super fresh. And it's seasonal. When I was living there, I did not eat very many vegetables. Like potatoes and tomatoes were kind of my staple because it's just not the weather, the climate for growing vegetables, but it is the climate for growing fruit. So I ate a ton of fruit, and lots of eggs and fish. But the eggs, here's another example, the eggs aren't refrigerated because the way they're taken, it's more natural and they can sit on the shelf because they're designed to do that. But here, when we get the eggs, we totally sanitize them. And because they're sanitized, they don't have any of the natural healing bacteria, so they have to be refrigerated. So there, the eggs just sit out on the shelf. And out of habit, I would buy them and put them in the fridge. Isn't that funny? Just out of habit, because my brain is like, I gotta put these things in the fridge. So the difference is our food supply has been literally hijacked by the food industry. The food industry specifically designs our food to be highly addictive. Like they want us to be addicted. They have scientists in the lab studying these foods to find the yum factor. What is the perfect point where it'll make us want more, but it's not too much that it's making us not want to eat more. It's just the perfect yum factor where I'm like, more. That's what they spend millions of dollars trying to figure out so that we just buy more and we become addicted to the food. Our food, for the most part, is not local. We do have seasonal food, but you do have to look for that. Like here where I live, fruits in the spring and summer are highly seasonal. And we do have seasonal foods. We do have local foods, but you got to look for that. You have to know what you're looking for and where to find it. And you got to be reading the labels. Where was this made? And so our food, when we have food on the shelves, there's no seasonal food on the shelves. That's just put on the shelf so that it can last longer, so it doesn't go bad. Why? So that they can make more money. So we really have to hunt for this seasonal food. We have to know what we're looking for. We have to know where to find it. Like I could literally go out to a blueberry farm and pick blueberries. That's available to me. But most people don't know that. They don't do that. We are overweight and malnourished in our society. And I'm speaking like for where I live, the society that I live in. And then most of North America, all of North America, we'll just say overweight but malnourished. So if you just follow the status quo, you will be overweight and sick. That's what it's designed for. That's the road that you're headed down. That's the future that you're creating for yourself. If you just follow the commercials, follow what the food companies tell you, even follow what the government is telling you. Like the pyramid has changed, like the American food guide and the Canadian food guide has changed a lot, and it's still not there, but it's changed a lot. But before it was just like totally a road to diabetes, a road to obesity. So the fun thing is that our food is full of additives, and most of those additives are banned in the rest of the world. A lot of our food would not be allowed to be sold in other countries because it's banned. Why? Because of the chemicals. They know that these chemicals are bad for you, but here the power of making money is more important than your health in relationship to the food industry. Our food industry has hijacked our dopamine, which is our pleasure center. Our dopamine is like, and the funny thing is, okay, so we have dopamine, and the dopamine is like, we want to reward the pleasure center. This is where, when we talk about addiction and overeating and all these types of things, it's the dopamine that's being triggered. But the interesting fact is that it's not, say, the eating of the food that releases the dopamine. It's the thought, the anticipation of eating the food that causes the dopamine hits. Like if you're a gambler, it's the thought of winning or the thought of gambling that hits the dopamine, not the actual gambling. Isn't that fascinating? And that's what keeps you coming back, because it's the anticipation, and then it's gone, and then you want more, and then it's gone, and then you want more. And then you need more to hit that, because what you used to do just doesn't cut it anymore. So now that our dopamine has been hijacked, the food industry is in control. We're overweight and we're malnourished. That's the crazy part. So think about it. In order to be healthy and lean, you have to make an effort to not do what the food industry wants you to do. That's why it's so hard, is that if you want to be healthy, you have to not follow society, not follow what everybody else is doing, not follow what all of this advertising and all these commercials are telling you to do, to be different than everybody else. And we know that as a human being in society, our instinct is to fit in with the crowd, because from our history, if we didn't fit in with the crowd, we were the odd one out, and that would mean certain death. And so from these deep ancestral upbringings and experiences, we're like, we don't want to be different than anybody else. But we have to actually make an effort to not do what they're telling us to do. And that's like to go against the grain. And that can be super hard to do, really hard. But the best way to heal your body is through food, because everything you eat either makes you healthy or it makes you sick. That's how powerful our food is. Let food be thy medicine. So here's a challenge for you. Think about this. Could you do this for the rest of the spring or summer, or whenever you're listening to this, like say for the next 4 or 5 months, when you go to the grocery store, only shop from the outside aisles of the store. Don't go down the center aisles. And see what happens. Just do that for 4 or 5 months. Don't buy anything from the aisles, and see how your body looks and feels. First of all, you're going to be like, whoa, I don't think I can do that. Like, notice how much stuff you buy from the aisles, because when you look around the outside, that's where the fresh produce is. That's where the fruits are. That's where your eggs are. And if you're a meat eater, that's where the meat is. And I wanted to say like dairy, but I'm not a fan of dairy. That's a whole other thing. But you do you if that's your thing. But just try only shopping from the outside. So don't get sucked into all the extra stuff that you don't need, because those are all just chemicals. Those are all just processed foods. So what I'm saying is try just having whole, clean foods for the next 4 to 5 months. What? I know. I bet you that just hearing this has caused like stress or resistance in your body. And I question that. Why is that? I wonder why that's happening. But the problem is, it's a lot of work to go against the food industry. The food industry is like trying to shove these foods that they've created down your throats. And why am I the strange one? Because I'm eating whole, clean foods. How is that a thing? Where does that come from? Like, I do get a lot. I don't tell people what I do unless they ask me or unless they come to work with me. And for this reason is because people are like, what? How do you get your protein? How do you survive? I'm like, this is how we're meant to survive, is just on whole, clean foods. The better question is, how do you survive on all of these chemicals? That's the fascinating part. Like, I'm just shocked. Like, why is it more effort to find whole, clean foods than to find foods full of chemicals? Why is processed food so addictive? Because it's designed to be addictive. Trust me, I know I'm addicted to sugar. So for me, all or nothing. So I don't have any processed sugar because I know if I do, I'll like trigger the response. I'll unleash the beast and then I'll just eat all the sugar. But you might think, oh my gosh, that sounds horrible. What a tortured life you live. No, because I get my sweet fix from the fruit. I can make 1,000 different desserts and I love the sweet stuff. So I have all the dessert recipes that are just whole, clean foods. There's no added sugar. My sweetener is a banana. My sweetener are dates. I use nature to make sweet dessert treats. A lot of the food I eat is super sweet because it just makes me feel good. So the way I eat in abundance, and there is no lack or restriction around my fruits and vegetables and my grains. I can have as much as I want. So it's a beautiful way to live. It's so liberating. It's so freeing. But the interesting thing is, like, when I came back, I did gain weight. So it's like, why did that happen? Those other things started to sneak in. A little bit of processed here, a little bit of processed there. Because I know when I stick to my whole, clean foods, then it's not possible to eat too much because it's the calorie density principle, right? I eat the low calorie density foods that fill me up so much that it's not possible to overeat on them. You can't have too many calories, even though I'm not counting calories. I just eat the calories that are low in calorie density. And if you haven't watched my Eat More, Lose Weight in Midlife, then go to my webpage, heatherlondon.ca, and it's a free masterclass that I did because I want you to understand the concept of calorie density. So all these other little things just kind of snuck back in. So if I want to be at my optimal, where my body is like feeling really good, then I just clean that up. I just get rid of those things. But they sneak in a little bit here and a little bit there, and then it adds up, right? So why is processed food so addictive? Because the food industry has prioritized their profit over your health. So you get to be the one to prioritize your health. They're never staying up at night worried about how can I make Heather healthier. No, they're like, how can I earn more dollar bills? You all like, that's all they're worried about is their profit. That's it. And as we get into midlife and beyond, our health becomes a major priority. It is so much easier to bounce back from a bad diet when we're younger, right? It's so much easier for our bodies to filter out toxins in our food when we're younger. But our body, as amazing as it is, can only do so much. And when we hit a point of saturation, where, our body just can't keep up with filtering and cleaning out all these toxins anymore and clearing out all the toxins, then disease starts to appear. And it seems like it appears out of nowhere, but it's slowly been building over time. It's accumulative. That's why our food is so important. Trust me, the most important thing in midlife is your health. Your health will determine what kind of the rest of your life you'll have. Midlife and beyond is actually a third of your life. You're going to spend a third of your life in this state. So you want to be as healthy as possible. And the quality of this part of your life is determined with every bite you take and every thought you think. And all of this is in your control. That's the good news. And now that you know this, you can't unknow it. You can't just be like, no, I don't know that this is all my responsibility and I can control it and I can change it. So make the changes today that will create a fabulous, healthy, exciting life for you tomorrow and all the tomorrows after that, all the days that follow that. Spend midlife doing the things that you love and having exciting eat, pray, love adventures and living your life to the fullest instead of in the doctor's office. The best part is this is all in your hands. You get to choose how this goes and what this looks like. If you want help with this, come hang out in my world. I have a ton of free resources for you to consume. Check out my Instagram, Heather London Coaching. I show you all the foods that I make and what I eat in a day. And you can also work with me one-on-one, where together we design a life where clean eating and a healthy, exciting life is the norm. It's just what you do. It's just who you are. It's super fun and it's super easy and it is life-changing. The power of choice is yours. Choose wisely, my friend. Thank you for listening. Always, always, always love yourself first and have an amazing day.